Okay, this time we're going to look at a problem which involves an equation here which needs to be solved where the unknowns are powers. So we've got this equation here, 8 times 15.4 raised to the power 2x plus 1 equals 5.9 raised to the power 4x. How do we solve it? Well, there's only one way of solving it really, and that is to use logs. And in using logs, it doesn't matter if we use common logs or natural logs, as long as we use the same type of logarithm on both sides of the equation. So let's do that now. Let's take logs of both sides. So that simply gives us ln of 8 times 15.4 to the power 2x plus 1 equals ln of 5.9 raised to the power 4x. Notice here I'm using natural logs, but it doesn't matter. Now, the reason for using logs is that we can now use the laws of logs to simplify this function, which looks at first glance as if it's got more complicated. Now, the easiest thing to do, I suppose, is the right-hand side first of all. So let's deal with that. On the right-hand side over here, we have the log of a number raised to a power. One of the laws says that if we have that, then we can bring the power and we can write it in front of the log. And because the power involves our unknown, that means that we can then get the unknown on the same line as all the other values in this equation. So let's do that. We get 4x times the log of 5.9, which is much simpler than what it was. Okay, so that's the right-hand side dealt with. Now the left-hand side. Resist the temptation at this point to say, there's a power. I can just bring the power down, but you can't, because it's a bit more complicated on this side. We've got the product of two quantities, product of two expressions. We've got 8 times 15.4 raised to the power 2x plus 1. So, if we're going to use the rules of logs here, we have to first use the rule which says that if we've got the log of two things multiplied together, the product of two things, then that's the same as the log of the first plus the log of the second. So we can split this up into the log of 8 plus the log of 15.4 to the power 2x plus 1. Okay? And then we've got something which is very similar to what we had on the right hand side originally. We can bring the power down in this expression and write the whole line as the log of 8 plus 2x plus 1, and notice I've put the 2x plus 1 in brackets because it's the whole power which you need to bring down, times the log of 15.4, and that's equal to the expression that we already have on the right hand side. And that's the hard bit done really. You've used logs in order to get the unknowns on the same line as all the other values. So now it's just a case of rearranging that equation. Now, first step here is, because we're looking for x, and x is in this bracket here, we need to expand that bracket. So let's multiply that bracket out, and that gives us the log of 8 plus 2x times the log of 15.4 plus, and we're going to get 1 times the log of 15.4. So that's just the log of 15.4 equals 4x times the log of 5.9. Okay? We need to get the x's onto the same side of the equation. So in this example, I'm going to take 2x times log of 15.4 off both sides. And that will leave us with, on this side, the log of 8 plus the log of 15.4. And they're just numbers, remember, so we can work them out at any stage, but we'll leave it all till the end. Equals 4x times the log of, the log of 5.9 minus 2x times the log of 15.4. Okay, we've got the x's onto one side. Now, we've still got x written down twice, so we have to factorise that. And if we factorise it by taking the x out of both expressions on the right-hand side, that will give us x multiplied by 4 log of 5.9 minus 2 log of 15.4. Brilliant. Almost there. So now what we can do is, to get x by itself, we can divide by all of that bracket and then put it in our calculator and work out what the value is. So we end up with x equals log of 8 plus the log of 15.4 all divided by 4 log of 5.9 minus 2 log of 15.4. And if you put that into your calculator to 2 decimal places, that should be 2.95. Okay? Job's a good one.